Hi team, welcome back to the TrackHouse. Today, or this session, is a 10-minute warm-up. I'd probably recommend we use this, or you use this, every time you jump on a treadmill or head out for a run. So what we're going to do is we're going to head out, we're going to whack our shoes on, and we're going to get moving. And when I say moving, I mean a nice, easy, kind of gentle walk. It's the first thing we all do before anyone goes for a run, is you have to walk just a little bit, just to either get out your front door or just a couple of steps down the road before you start running. But what we're going to do is we're going to take it nice and gentle. So we're going to start by just turning the belt over a little bit, get into a nice little walking stride. And it's that casual kind of lollop, if you will. That's where we're going to start. And then we're just going to kind of get a bit more purposeful with it. And you'll notice, if I get you to just think about it for a second, that you might be landing on your heel because you're kind of just taking that nice big stride. And there's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to ask you to shorten your stride length a little bit. And as we shorten our stride length, we're just going to try and come up onto our toes. And that way, you kind of end up looking like just bobbing up and down a little bit harder to do on a treadmill. But we are just kind of just coming up onto the toes, trying to get a bit of a calf stretch, making sure the belt's not moving too quickly whilst I do it. But nice and slow, just trying to get a little calf stretch. Pace is super slow. Calf muscles, Achilles muscles, they do a huge amount for us as runners. Just come back into that nice striding pace for me. But yeah, the calf and the Achilles do a huge amount for us. And usually I'm hoping it's something that you never really have to worry about. But we want to make sure that as those two muscles, we're so reliant on them, and the Achilles is a tendon. So if we get any damage or pain to that, that is going to be a real issue for us as runners. It's going to mean that we're not going to be able to do anything for a long period of time. So once again, up onto the toes, just get the calves working. And you might find that your arms start swinging a bit more as you come up nice and high. And this is probably one of the few things, kind of the few plyometric things that I like to do before almost every run, just because I desperately don't want to struggle with calf issues. One of the other things that we can do, and I'm just going to slow right down on the treadmill for this, is a bit of a hamstring stretch. Come down, drop down, keep walking, and all we're going to do is let our hands come down towards the belt or to the ground, and we almost just try and plyometrically stretch our hamstrings by brushing down with our hands and getting a few hamstring stretches. Another one of the major muscle groups that we're definitely going to use, and we use every time we run, every time we pull our heel up. Super important. Don't want to get any hamstring issues. Come back up to a nice gentle walk. And now what we're going to do is just move into a little jog. But you'll notice that I haven't changed the speed of the treadmill belt. So I can walk it if I want to, but at the same time, I can really just take those minute little steps and turn it into a tiny little jog. So the belt doesn't change. Walking and then into a nice little jog. Really short footsteps. And you're wondering to yourself, well, what's the point of this? Just trying to get you to land on the balls of your feet so your heels aren't touching the floor at all. And that way, again, we're engaging the calf muscles. Nice way to warm them up with these small little steps. And because they're so small and we're moving so slowly, the impact is not huge. And when it comes to running, there's something that we call ground impact force. Basically, all the weight that you add to your body by hitting it with force into the ground, kind of you put 2 or 3 times your body weight through your joints. This way, when we're just moving nice and slowly, small, tiny little steps, keep with it. We're just engaging the calves and your Achilles just to get them to function, but without that real heavy load and heavy impact of what running brings to us. I'm just going to ask you now to move it a bit quicker. And you might notice that once you go a little bit quicker, trying to hold this form where you're running on the forefoot, that your arms start moving. Again, something that's super important is that we don't want to rotate and twist our shoulders whilst we are running. So a big thing, just to make sure they're nice and loose, and shake them off and just keep them nice and casual. Try not to hold any tension in your upper shoulders. So your shoulders should not be nice and high. We want those shoulders to be nice, loose, and relaxed. The way that we can make sure that we do this is just dropping our hands to our side, really relaxing the shoulders, give them a shrug, a shake, and a roll, and then picking our hands back up. That's a really good way just to move through and make sure our shoulders relaxed. And it's something that you should be doing if you do like an interval session or walk run session on the recovery phase. Always try and reset your shoulders. We're 5 or 6 minutes into this warm up now. So I'm actually going to ask you just to increase the pace a little bit, and your stride length is going to increase just that small amount. And you're just going to get a bit more distance between each step as you begin to move a bit faster, but try and maintain the point of the foot that is hitting the ground. So don't just try and drop back into a heel strike. Keep that stride length nice and short. That way, what we're doing, adding a bit more pressure through all our major muscle groups, kind of below our waist, but at the same time, we're not quite into a run or a fast run or a run phase just yet. Again, relax the shoulders. Neck becomes something that you might want to shake out, move left to right. Try and do it without, if you want a treadmill, make sure you got your space around you and your bearings. So I don't want you falling off. And then we're just going to build it a little bit in terms of pace, but without changing our stride pattern too much. We're just going to move our arms a little bit more as our stride length increases a little bit, and we're not being too dramatic. There's plenty of things that you can do before you even step out the door, before you go for a run. And that's when I typically would look to incorporate some kind of plyometric stretches. So get like a little squat going, maybe a few lunges, really great way, but it's nice and slowly. Don't kind of rush into it and treat it as a big training session. But those movements are really good if they're done really slow and maybe like half range, are really good at just increasing your the arc of the muscle that you are using. I'm just going to gently kind of start moving through my pacing. My stride might become a bit more natural to how I run. So if I am a heel striker, I'm just going to let my heels start making contact with the ground as we move into the last 2 minutes. But we are getting a bit more into our actual run stride now. So it's nice and easy, gentle arms, nice breath. This should be completely aerobic. So if you were with someone or you are with someone, you should be able to hold a conversation the entire time. So here we go. Nice and easy. As our stride length increases, and that's the issue when it comes to warming up. If we go straight into a run and our stride length is at our full range, that's when we can get some niggles. And that's what we want to avoid. We want to kind of ease into it and be nice and gentle. Those little short steps that we started with are really, really crucial because it starts with a nice short stride length. So here we go. 1 more minute where I'm probably around about the speed that I'd almost want to be on a nice, easy Sunday long run, or just a gentle jog if I was going on an afternoon. So I'm pretty happy with that. I've got nice soft shoulders, chance to relax the shoulders, just doing a quick body check to make sure there's no niggles. If anything's niggly, just register that because you might want to come back to that later and see whether that niggle is still there. 30 more seconds, and then I'm going to sign off and leave you to dive into an exercise. I'm pretty comfortable. I'm now kind of heel striking. I'm in a pretty good pattern and stride length and breathing pattern for what I would call just a nice aerobic pace, and it feels comfortable. I feel good. Last 10 seconds. And I'm going to sign off here. Let you guys get into an exercise. Some of them have a nice little walk, warm up. Some of them get almost, short little 2 or 3 minute jog straight into a session. So always make sure you get your warm up in. That's me signing off. Get your session done. I'll see you out there.